Hi, I'm Joe Gertis, and this is Coffee in the Capitol. Today, our guest is Senator Kristin Phillips-Hill, representing the 28th Senate District and chair of the Senate Communications and Technology Committee. You've been an early leader in the Senate pushing for high-speed broadband internet access for all Pennsylvanians. And I was just wondering, your thoughts on where we stand now and where do we need to go to make sure that all Pennsylvanians have this access? It's so important.
Have been working on this issue for quite some time. It dates back to my time in the House. But when I made the transition to the Senate, was named Senate Communications and Technology Committee Chair, undertook an entire series of hearings, spent all of last summer traveling across Pennsylvania. We're then able to come back to Harrisburg and put together a package of legislation, working with legislators from all over the Commonwealth. So recognizing that it's going to take some public-private partnerships, Senator Wayne Langerholtz has a bill that creates a funding mechanism.
That's right.
And we were able to get rid of a tax credit program that had not been effective. So we're repurposing those dollars into a Commonwealth Financing Authority grant program to incentivize development of high-speed internet technology infrastructure. And we also recognize that there are regulatory barriers. So just this past week, legislation that I had crafted that would free up our telecommunications, our telephone companies who are still by state law required to provide old school telephone service and maintain an extensive infrastructure for service that people not only no longer want, but they really no longer need. That'll free up those dollars and allow them to invest in the kind of infrastructure that people want and need. And we also have legislation sponsored by Senator Joe Pittman that would make things a little more streamlined for rural electric cooperatives. As it stands now, they have an extensive amount of infrastructure for deploying electric service to many of those same areas that are seeing challenges with accessing high-speed internet. But the way the process is currently set up, they'd have to go back and renegotiate all of these right-of-way agreements and many other things just to string a line of fiber on an existing electric line. That just doesn't make sense. So we're going to make it easier to deploy those resources. And then we've got Senator Pat Brown, who's working on legislation to address 5G and small cell siting. Those pieces of legislation, I think, are going to go a long way.
Senator, as you know, as we are all dealing with this pandemic, one of the things that municipalities have to face is the very basic thing of loss of revenues. You suggested a major cost-saving effort that could help quite a bit, and that would be temporarily suspending the prevailing wage provisions that are out there. Can you explain that a little bit and what your thoughts are there, Senator?
Studies that we have seen have indicated that the prevailing wage adds anywhere from 10 to 25% to the cost of a project, and that might be one way that we can assist them in saving dollars or being able to leverage those dollars to get more. And having served on a school board, I recognize that paying prevailing wage didn't improve the materials that were used, the service that was provided. The private sector and the public sector should be able to pay the same. And again, every local government needs to have tools and options to take care of the needs of their communities and their constituents. And that's what this legislation is attempting to do.
Senator, is there anything else that you see out there as a need for helping Pennsylvania emerge from this pandemic?
I have been an advocate for regulatory reform. And I've seen that overburdensome regulations impact not only businesses and nonprofits and individuals, but also local governmental entities. And so I think it will be really important for us to, do a full-scale evaluation of what was pulled back and what the impact of it was. And if it worked well during this pandemic, we might not need those regulations going forward in the future.
You were recently participated in a hearing where some have suggested a limited constitutional convention should be called. And that sometimes brings up some concerns amongst our members that that could bring out folks that want to abolish local government. And just wanted to let you kind of explain what happened at that meeting and what kind of some of your thoughts are on that.
And the goal is a limited constitutional convention. So it would be narrowly crafted to address the size, scope, and the cost of state government, the legislature, looking at the lieutenant governor's office. It's really an attempt to give the power back to the people. I think local decision-making is really important. Government that is closer to the people, I believe, is able to make some of the best decisions for the people of this Commonwealth. And in no way, shape, or form is this intended or crafted to take away any of the authority of local elected officials.
Thank you. That's all the time we have for today. But thank you, Senator, for taking the time to join us. And remember, if you like what you're seeing, subscribe to PSATS YouTube channel and follow our social media pages for more Township Video News content. Next Tuesday, look for Dave Talk. And as always, thanks for watching.